Hey, this is Omar from depressionhero.com, and I'm at this hospital here where my mother-in-law is going through some treatment, and she's in the ICU, the intensive care unit. And this is kind of a series of videos that I'm making while here at the hospital, just to share with you some of the insights that I've been receiving, and to help you see kind of a different perspective on if you're going through a difficult time. And one of the things that I've realized is that there's always somebody who's in a worse situation than you are. And a lot of times when we're going through a difficult period in our lives, we've got stresses, we've got work issues, we've got family issues, we've got money issues, we've got health issues, we've got all kinds of issues going on. And we sometimes get overwhelmed, and we get so inwardly focused that we kind of become so self-obsessed and so self-absorbed that we forget that there's another world out there, And so the conclusion that I came to, and the realization that I came to that I want to share with you, is that there's always somebody worse off than you and your situation. And so one of the things that you can do to help you break the pattern of yourself, of being so self-absorbed and self-obsessed. And I'm not saying that it's bad to worry about your situations and look for a solution, but sometimes we get really so focused on the issue that we forget that there's a bigger world out there. And so here's the realization, is that, as I mentioned before, there's somebody worse off than you. So what can you do? Well, you can volunteer. You can volunteer to help somebody out who's going through a difficult situation. And maybe this difficult situation is worse than yours, or not as bad as yours, or it doesn't really matter. The point of it is that you're offering your services to somebody else and helping them out without any expectation of anything, You're just offering to help them out because they're going through a rough time. They can't think straight about their situation. And there's a lot of noise here. They can't think straight about their situation, and to have somebody just help them without any expectation of anything is going to really help them out, and they'll literally be forever grateful to you for helping them out. I'll give you an example. One time, a very good friend of mine, his business partner was skating and ice skating, and fell and went into a coma. So my buddy was freaking out, and I was actually in Europe at the time. I was traveling around, and he was freaking out. He didn't know what to do because he was so emotionally distraught. And so the way I helped him out is I said, okay, what do you need to do? Give me the list of what the things are. And I helped him prioritize what he needed to do. And then I said, okay, do one and do number two, and then get back to me. So he did 1 and 2, and then he called me up and says, okay, now do 3 and 4. And just by having somebody to talk to about his issues, about the fact that, because when you're in that situation, you kind of get very confused and you can't focus on anything. You may be familiar with that. I know I am. And basically, it kind of, something fell out from my iPad. One sec. So it helped that person to just function in their everyday life and to get things done that they needed to get done. And you don't have to do this for a year or whatever. It's just to help them get through that initial shock, and you kind of do it selflessly without expectation of anything. And that really helps out that other person. And not only do they feel grateful, but you feel a sense of accomplishment as well, that you've actually helped somebody out in a difficult time. And so what that action does is it actually raises the quality of your energy, right? It raises the quality of your energy, not just for you, but for the person that you're helping. And for anybody else that is watching or aware of what's going on, it actually raises their level of energy as well. And so it's something that you can do. And when you volunteer, you really get a sense of perspective on how fragile life is. And it's like, okay, I'm going through all these difficult situations. but there's still some things that I can do for somebody else, you know? And that gives you perspective. It's like, you know what, maybe my situation is not as bad as I thought it was. And it gives you time to reflect on a possible solution for your particular situation just by removing yourself from it. You know, it gives you perspective, and it gives you a chance to pull away and to see somebody else. And just in that action, you can actually help yourself too by getting that new perspective. So that's the insight that I got. You know, volunteer, help somebody else out who's in a difficult situation. Be selfless about it, and that'll help you and help them and help anybody else who's observing this as well, coincidentally. So, well, my phone is going. This is Omar from depressionhero.com, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Ciao.